Jason, we're learning the retaliatory attacks against the Iran-backed militants involved in the attack at the Jordan base where U.S. officials or U.S. soldiers were killed, that could be a campaign that could last weeks. And it follows months of these hostilities there in the Red Sea with the Iran-backed Houthis. So all these different Iran-backed groups seem to be empowered right now. Why do you think that is?
Well, Anna, I think you were smart to point out that these are all kind of linked together. It'd be nice if we could separate them and isolate each incident from each other. I think it's valuable, first and foremost, that we respect and honor the sacrifice of the service members that were killed in Jordan. But the complexities here in this region are broad and they're deep. And so the premonition that we'll have a campaign or something that is larger and greater in scope puts this conversation into context with those complexities. We have U.S. forces in harm's way in isolated regions with very, let's call it minimal force protection measures. And those force protection measures are being stretched every day. We're taking shots from drones, from missiles, from Houthis, from Iranian-backed militia groups within Iraq. So this becomes extremely complex, and based on, essential military principles, an advantage we ought to be taking in the region is repositioning those forces so that they are not becoming the sort of bait and trap targets that I think Iran seeks, or at least the militias that are backed by Iran are seeking to score hits on. So this is going to be it's always a balancing act in the Middle East. The more complex it becomes, the more we're going to require strategic insights that are actually nested together with these kinetic strikes. A kinetic strike alone is not enough here.
But Jason, you talk about repositioning people. And I would assume that U.S. assets and personnel are already strategically positioned, no?
This gets complex. I've done this. I've been at the edge of these places where forward operating bases are in outpost areas with sort of an advise and assist type mission where we're using the forces in Iraq to try to extend the influence of the Iraqi government. But what's happening now is those forces are now becoming isolated, and those now become targets. And I see the secretary taking the podium there. But as we get into that discussion, we can talk a little bit more about what is strategic versus what is tactical. In this case, leaving forces out there alone is not as strategic as it could be.
Jason, thank you. Everybody, please stand by.